Hello, everyone. Welcome to Content Supply Live. We are live today here with Brennan and Kate. And today we are going to talk about something that's currently trending in the news. It's impacting most, if not all, of our lives. And that is navigating marketing strategies amongst rising tariffs. So, with the recent tariff implications, they're really reshaping the economic landscape. And compelling businesses to reassess their marketing approaches and how they run their business in general. So we're just going to cover a couple of topics about this. So this is a really interesting topic. If you have any thoughts of the tariffs or anything, drop your questions, drop your comments in the chat, and we will be sure to answer your questions. Let's first talk about doubling down on what's already working. What are your thoughts on that topic?
Yeah, so I'll dive in here. So things that are already working when it comes to tariffs, like they're going to affect everybody in so many ways. Basically, from a lot of the things I read, the only people that will not be affected negatively for a while is every industry except like consulting. So there's going to be a financial impact that you just need to be aware of and nimble enough, and either getting ahead of that messaging when communicating with your clients and putting that in channels that you already have right now. So not trying to like, okay, we've never done a super creative or super funny ad before, let's dump $100,000 into this super new creative. Like that's not the time to do that right now. Like that's when you advertise like that, when you don't necessarily need to worry about the results. You're just trying to like build that excitement and fun. Right now is the time to leverage the channels that make the most sense, and to make sure that you are trying to communicate with things that already prove ROI. So what are those? That's like your video sales letters, your Facebook ads, Instagram ads, or your organic content on those social platforms. Um, Making content for your online communities, like in school, or if you have a Facebook group. Those would be times to build your little communities and people that maybe you have a mass group chat or a mass email. That I know that Kate's going to talk a little bit about those pieces, but what are those media channels that you're already leveraging? Your YouTube channel, I'd even say, is kind of an owned channel as well. You have subscribers, a community there. um, Doubling down on providing the content that makes sense for those people in as cost effective of a way, and leveraging that as much as possible. In this time, a lot of teams are going to be scaling back on the extras. And so that'll be like your in-house media teams. And so that'll be the time when vendors like us will pop into the conversation to fill those gaps, because you still need to be communicating to your audience, or else they're going to disappear, right? They'll go somewhere else. Because there's a caveat here where obviously less revenues coming in, so you got to be more tactful with the budget. But there's also, when budgets get tight, people stop spending money on marketing. So if you can leverage and spend more money on marketing than your competitors, you stand out. Everybody that's ever done that forever wins. That's just the case of how it goes. But other things to consider as well is like, don't take hefty risks. Just be able to, what drives traffic, leads, and sales, do those things that drive those actions. So creating little pieces of content that can help move people down the sales pipeline, and take good care of your customers now. So having content that can help them, right? Maybe that's internal comms, maybe that's communication on your platform that can be beneficial. Keeping as much of your current clientele will help a lot, right? And so if you have to charge them more, you need messages to go out to them and like show that you care, and all those types of things that can really leverage. And that might be worth the investment to make sure that they feel seen and heard in that moment. Interviewing your clientele on your internal podcast, things like that will be um, super beneficial, because it's a lot cheaper to keep your clientele than to find new stuff, find new clients. So that's my take on that piece. Do you guys have anything else you want to add to make sure you're not taking risky investments with media?
Yeah, that kind of leads into my second point here, Brendan. I like that you brought up your owned channels and kind of your owned audience. During this time, we recommend that you focus on your owned audience and your own channels versus borrowed channels. So, owned channels are things like your website, like Brendan said, your email list, your blog, your SMS list, your podcast, anywhere where you actually own the platform that people are interacting with on. And then borrowed channels are things like social media and paid ads. And the reason why you kind of want to get away from these or maybe focus more on your owned media is because paid ads tend to get more expensive as competition increases and people are more competitive um, with their ad spend, and brands want to fight to get the limited customer attention and the limited, I guess, income or discretionary income that people have to spend. So things tend to get a lot more competitive on borrowed incomes, or sorry, on borrowed channels. Um, and as well, these social algorithms can change really easily too, especially when things can feel a little bit volatile. Social algorithms can change a lot, and your ROI may not be as consistent on things like paid ads. So the benefit of having own channels is you're not paying to reach your audience. They're already there on your email list. They tend to be a lot more loyal, and you can keep access to them no matter what platform changes happen. So really it's about focusing on what you can control and less on the things that you can't control. And I think that focusing on your own channels that aren't borrowed are really the best advice that we can give. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And that kind of leads into the topic that I'm going to talk about, which is repurposing instead of reinventing. And especially when it comes to your own channels, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. You want to use the content that you already have, and you want to just make that content go further. And there's lots of different ways that you can do that. The first way is by just from one podcast episode. Let's say you have a podcast, you can create, 6 to 10 podcast shorts from that one episode. And then that can really like grow your audience. It can get more eyes on your content. You can also, you can post those to all of your social channels. You can post them to YouTube. You can post them to Instagram. You can post them to TikTok. You can post them to LinkedIn. Like they can just be everywhere. So that can be one way to repurpose your content. You can also create blog posts from the content that you already know. With AI now, like everywhere. They have a lot of AI tools, whether that's in like ChatGPT, or I know that they have like Pod Squeeze, stuff like that. And you can just put in like a simple, well, you can just basically put in your audio recording from your episode, and that'll help you write out like show notes. And stuff that you can repurpose and you can rewrite into your own blog post that can really help your audience learn more about your content. Um, you can also create like email content, whether like through like email marketing, and other chains just with your email lists that you already have. You can also use carousel posts, LinkedIn articles or thought pieces, or even like short ads. All of these are like great ways that you can just repurpose the content that you already have so that you're not putting more money into a project that you don't necessarily have the money for. And I think that's really important, because it not only saves time, but it also like helps your channel have like a sense of consistency. If you have all this content, you're not going to have like weeks at a time that your channel is going to go dead and not have anything to post. So yeah, I think those are some really good ideas to just repurpose your content, save money, don't overthink things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any ideas on this?
The other thing to like consider, no, Dallin, it's sent some things in our chat about like how venture capital is going to be investing in manufacturing and how some of these tariffs, like, to be honest, these are not going to be going anywhere anytime soon, right? These are something that are going to affect us right now. The problem is the incentive with these is like manufacturers and people who are going to come and build a business, because those tariffs are in place, they're going to want those to stay, or else it makes zero business sense to build these things. So if this works out the way that the current administration wants it to, then that means that this will stay this way. So you just need to learn, this might be the new normal. Like during COVID, when that happened, there was a big reset and shoving of the way things are played. This isn't as like straightforward of the next steps for most people. Consistency is key though, because there will be probably, and I sound like a flipping newscaster. There will be a recession. Like I don't want to be that guy. I just you like hope for the best, you know, plan for the worst, and then just do roll through whatever happens. So I think if you're planning for the worst thing to happen, you're hoping the best thing will happen. You're optimistic and you just roll. That's going to be the most important with your content. If you just pretend like the world's awful and then like you have that mindset in the content, then you're either going to get super Debbie Downers that usually don't buy anything anyway. That could be in your zone. So you want to like communicate in a positive note. So keep the faith that things are good. People who have positive mindsets rise up through those moments. So it's going to be a tough time for everybody. Just accept that. Just what are you going to do about it is the biggest thing.
Oh, I think you're
Kate,
muted.
you're muted. Oh, boomer. You
Guys,
guys know that she roasted me earlier today because I
I
had like 3 calls today
did.
that I was on mute, and then
There's
she
been like
freaking
5 times recently where Brendan has been talking, and I'm like, Brendan, it's 2025. Unmute your mic.
unmute your mic.
And wow, that came to bit me in the butt. But
Okay.
Brendan, I was going to agree with you. I was going to say, really, at the end of the day, that's all that we can focus on is what we can control. And yeah, so hopefully these tips helped you guys out, and there will definitely be more to come on all of our social platforms and our email as well. So keep an eye out.
Yeah. So feel free to subscribe to all the things, and if you have questions on what a media strategy would look like through that, feel free to reach out. I'll hop on a call with you, and we can talk through some ideas, and we get down on a call as well with you guys. Talk shop, talk strategy, and where we see be most beneficial.
Yes. Yes, like we said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, comment down below your thoughts on the tariffs, any tips that you might have for marketers too. I'm sure that everybody would really appreciate it at this time. All right, well, I think that's the end of our show today. But yeah, subscribe to all of our platforms to hear more about this topic and other trending topics, and we will see you next time. Bye. Oh, whoops.
Nice. I got it. I showed up.